everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Latinas Power Talk. I am your host, Kenya Vasquez. Thank you for joining us another week. Today we have a very special guest. As you can see behind me, we have a lot of arts and crafts here, and I am so excited to dive into this conversation of how she came about creating all this beautiful artwork, because it genuinely is art and it represents Latinos so perfectly. So with me for today's episode is the Crafty Chica, Kathy Cano Murillo. How are you?
Hi, Kenya. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being. You're like a little ray of sunshine. I love it. Thank you so much. I remember the first time that I heard you speak was in February, and you were on stage, you were talking about your story and how you got into arts and craft.
Yes.
And I was like, one, I love your energy. I love
Thank you.
you radiate like all this positivity. And two, I was like, wow, I never realized, one, how crafty we are as Latinos. Our moms are into like, oh, let me do this for your school project. Let me do this for your birthday. Let me do this, right? But also how there was a lack of representation when it came to arts and crafts.
Oh, yes. In a $43 billion industry.
$43 billion.
$43 billion.
Yes.
And our community is a big part of that.
Yeah.
We're a very creative community, very resourceful,
Very colorful.
Very hyphenated.
Yes.
You know, in so many different
Eccentric,
things.
bold, yes.
And I've always been a hyper creative, and going into art and craft and vending at different events, I realized I wanted to scale up my business. I didn't want to build a career off of vending every weekend. And I worked my way into the craft industry. I picked up that bottle of paint, or actually it was a bottle of glue, and I looked at who made it, and I started tagging them in all of my posts on my blog, and they noticed, and they invited me to come speak and demo and eventually be their national spokesperson, and it led to so many things. So
like one door after the next kind of just opened,
yes.
right? So let's backtrack it a little bit. How did you get started in creating all this artwork?
Well, I just have always been into writing and doodling, making things, and I learned that I could make money from doing something that I love. And I used to make earrings out of watercolor paper and sell them to boutiques in downtown Tempe. And when I got that first paycheck, I was like, oh my God, I want to make all the earrings. What else can I make?
What more?
Yes. And my husband, luckily, he's an artist and a musician. And we just decided when we got married that we wanted to build a life of art, music, and writing. And we have always stayed true to that. We've been married 34 years. And the main thing I said is, you know, scaling up the business, because we worked so hard, and there was always a ceiling, and we got tired of there always being a ceiling. And so I just always looked for ways to learn the business of crafting, and you know, not going into something that I didn't like to do, and instead finding a way to make what I love to do, to make it work and profitable.
Learning the business of something that you're passionate about takes a lot of work.
Yes.
Like it's like you're super passionate about the product or the service that you do, and then when you want to escalate it to become a full-on business,
Yes.
it's like, okay, now I need to take a step back and say, okay, how do I form my LLC? How do I, like all the business stuff, right? And it's like a
Yes.
whole like process of kind of like
even
learning.
Before that, I think I never wanted, when we first got married, we dove into it full time, and it was very difficult. It was not enough money to sustain a family of four, because by this time we had two little kids.
What year was this?
This was in like the early 90s.
Okay.
And I took a job at the Arizona Republic because I love writing, and it was my dream job since high school to work in the features department and interview celebrities and write story
Like
cover.
entertainment reporting,
Yes, an
yes.
entertainment reporter. And so I worked my way up to be a double nationally syndicated columnist. I had
Wow.
one column that ran in 130 papers on Saturday. It was my craft column. And then I had a column on Wednesdays where I interviewed celebrities for new movies that also ran in hundreds of papers around the
Wow.
country. And through that job, because I thought if I'm going to go to work, I want it to be something that I love and something that I'm going to learn from to help with my art business. And working in that job, I learned about press releases. I learned about what kind of business was it that would grab my attention to want to write a story and feature this business.
Yeah.
And it taught me how to go on TV, because I would do Channel 12 every Wednesday morning and show the craft of
Oh,
the week.
wow.
So
Okay.
I was able to build a lot of skills. And then at nighttime, after the kids were in bed and the homework was done, I would work on my blog, my Crafty Chica blog, and I built a community. Back then it was MySpace.
Oh, I
And
remember you,
yes,
MySpace. Yes.
and I just really utilized social media as a way to build a community. And I had my art for sale, my husband and I, through our online website. But for me, it was about connecting with other creative Latinas and showing them the trending projects that were happening around the country, but giving them a Latina twist.
Yes.
Because I didn't see that represented anywhere. And it caught on. It led to doing workshops on cruises and,
Oh, wow.
workshops in Mexico, like all over. It just led
It
to
blew
so
up.
many things. I eventually left the newspaper in 2007
Yeah.
to do Crafty Chica full time, which blew my mind, because that I thought was my dream job. And then I realized I spend so much time writing about other people. I want someone to write a story about Crafty Chica. So
Yeah.
that's what motivated me to leave the newspaper and do Crafty Chica full time.
And here we are now.
And here we are,
Yes,
yeah.
here we are now. But don't you think it's crazy how, like, for example, you were on 12 News every Wednesday, and now you have your YouTube channel. So it kind of served like a stepping stone almost of, like, preparing you for like what you were going to do later on in your life. Isn't that crazy to think?
Yes, and I used to be terrified on Channel 12
Really?
because I had the news anchor there, and I'm like, I don't want to do it by myself. Like, please stand next to
The
me.
jitters,
And
yeah.
I was so scared, and now I'm like, okay, I got to show this project. So
No, you're a natural.
it just like made me do what I have to do. And I think that is the biggest takeaway, is not waiting for perfection, because practice makes progress, and there's never perfection. It always changes. As soon as you think you've achieved it, it changes. The landscape changes. The industry evolves. So you just always have to keep learning and growing and trying new things.
I love, love how, like, you're representing what Latinos are about through your art, through your pieces here that we have. And like before we started this podcast, we were talking about how, and I want to share this story
Yes.
about how you have had your collections, your line at Michael's, at Barnes and Noble,
Yes.
at Lowe's. You started at Lowe's, right?
Yes,
You were telling me you started at Lowe's, and it's just kind of been such a staple, I think, in every single retailer that you've been in, because I want you to share the story about the Dia de los Muertos,
Oh,
but that
yes.
really speaks volumes as to one, how big of a lack there is, and two, how much it's needed and how much consumers are wanting it.
Oh, yes,
You know?
definitely. Well, when I left the paper, it was to create a product line for Michael's. And I created an end cap. And in that end cap, I had Dia de los Muertos as part of the collection.
Yeah.
And at the time, I did not know what I was doing. It was so new to me. I just put everything there that I loved, and then we would find out what the best sellers were. Well, Dia de los Muertos ended up being the best sellers. And Michael's, they were so kind to give me this amazing opportunity, sent me on a tour all over the country. However, they were nervous about the Dia de los Muertos products because of the history, but they weren't quite sure. And
Because
I'm
of the
like,
religious background,
yes,
maybe. Yeah,
yes. And
yeah,
I am all about education. I
yeah.
created educational resources online that customers could learn about. I taught other Latina artists of how they could use these products to hold workshops to make extra money. Well, when it became the bestseller, they invited me back for another end cap the next year.
Wow.
And I was so excited because they said, we want the whole end cap to be Dia de los Muertos. And I'm like, oh my
Nice.
God, that's beautiful. So the next year comes, I design it. I go in August to my local Michael's and I see my picture and I see the end cap and it's so epic. And then I look to the next end cap next to mine and it's all full of Dia de los Muertos from Michael's brand.
And they were like, you know what? We're going to piggyback off of
Yes,
this. Yes. You
exactly.
inspired that.
Yes. And I was, at first I was like, oh, wow. But then I thought, you know what? I'm proud of what I created and I know it's going to sell. I'm really happy that now consumers have two end caps of merchandise to choose from to celebrate this because I like to make everything from scratch, but I realize a lot of people can't do that or they don't have the time or it's for school and they need something fast. So they're able to go into the craft store and easily find what they need there. So
And
that was really exciting to see that.
and highlight our culture,
Mm-hmm.
because as a kid, so, you know, I remember you said this when I first met you that there, our ancestors, our moms are very crafty,
Yes.
when they need when they need to help us with something for school or putting together a birthday party, baking a cake, like they're hands on with
Yes.
everything, right? And as a kid, my mom always baked cakes, so she was a little bit crafty in that area, right? And I remember going to Michael's now that I reflect back, and there wasn't anything that really spoke to us.
Right.
Like it was pretty basic arts and crafts. Not to say that Michael's is basic, but it was pretty.
It's
pretty,
general market.
Yes, it was
General market, yeah.
And to be able to now go to a store and say, you know what, I want to buy something for Dia de los Muertos and be able to pick it up, like
Yes.
that celebrates our culture, our
Yes.
background, our history. Like, wow.
So I do like to tell people to first source from local artists.
Yes.
Like come to places like Amor Collective,
Yes.
local boutiques, local pop-ups, and buy everything from local artists. But you know what? When it comes down to where you need tissue paper to make your tissue paper marigolds, like go to the crafts, or if you need to decorate something for a party in 1 hour, yes, run to the craft store
yes.
and like grab what you need. It's so
Yeah.
awesome that it's readily available. And I love that. But I love to encourage everyone to support local artists.
Yes.
Because we are what keeps it alive. We are the reason why places like Michael's have it, because we have proven the success of it, and we have so much talent out there. It's just so amazing.
We really do. Qué orgullo, right? To see a lot of
Yes,
our people just like thriving in all these different areas and spaces. But how did it feel when you got that first call and you heard that your art was going to be in at Lowe's?
Oh my gosh, that was our very first one, and it was.
What year was this?
This was like in the 2000s.
Okay.
And it was really nerve-wracking because, full transparency, like I love Lowe's. I work with Lowe's on their creator program. But at the time, they got this order of like, we want to have Latino kids products and we need it by next week.
Oh,
It was
wow.
like
A quick turnaround.
very fast turnaround.
Yeah.
And my husband and I we're like, okay, where do we even start with this? We didn't have Pinterest back then.
Yeah.
We just had to like sit down and sketch out ideas and go to the library and like look through magazines and ask friends and families for
inspo,
beta
yeah.
testing all of that. So they were really cute items. Is it the best thing I ever designed? Definitely not, but I'm proud of it. It's super cute. I still have all the original pieces, but I learned so much from that experience. So I knew that when another opportunity came, I would be ready. And that's when the Michaels opportunity came. Was I 100% ready? No.
But you
I
did it
was
anyway.
more prepared than I was the first time. So every time you get a little bit better.
Yeah, and you learn, you know? I
Yes,
don't
it's all
think,
about learning.
yeah, I think people sometimes see it as like, oh, I failed because I could have done this better. I could have done this, but
Yeah.
no, it all served as like a learning, a learning lesson, you know, and it got you better and more prepared for the next one, you know.
Exactly. And I mean, it's totally normal. I have like little ugly cries here and there because I'm like, I've been doing this for so long. Like, when am I going to have that one best selling $1 million product? And my kids and my husband, they're like, Mom, you have done so much
Yeah.
that other people wish they could do. Like, you need to let go of that standard that society puts upon us, that you have to be a millionaire from one product, like the Shark Tank story. It's okay to do a little bit of everything if you love all of it. You can
Yes.
still be very successful and prosperous.
How does it make you feel when your family tells you that? Because I feel like we're our worst critics. We're like always super hard on ourselves. Like, but when someone else kind of like sees you, one, and says, you know what, like you did it, like you made it, you know,
It means a
especially when it comes from
lot.
your kids. I'm
Yes,
assuming, you know.
it really means a lot because all four of us are very creative. So we take turns giving each other those type of truth talks and pep talks. Both of them are so important.
Truth talks and pep
Truth
talks. I love
talks
that.
and pep talks.
You need both of them.
You
Yeah.
need both of them, yes. And because they are creative and because they've seen me go through all of this, I really take their words serious, and it does mean a lot. And it feels really good that they understand me and they hold space for me, and I do the same for them.
It probably like recenters you as well, you know.
Yes, it definitely reminds me that I it's my goal isn't to be a multimillionaire. My goal is to have beautiful life experiences while I'm here, to connect with people, to spend time with my kids and my grandkids, and create new stories for the future generations that I may never meet in
Yeah.
person. So I've really come to believe that I'm here just to enjoy as many life experiences as I can
I love
without so
that.
much stress or hustle and all of
Yes,
that.
I love that. Things that money can't buy, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the products. So, as you guys know, we are at Amor Collective. So shout out to them. Shout out to Nadia and Stephanie for letting us once again record at their space. Thank you so much. And come and check out Crafty Chica's line here. But tell us a little bit about the products that we can shop here at Amor Collective.
Well, a lot of these are everything from illustration. So I design greeting cards, I have those, and
so cute.
through prints, jewelry, stationery. I love all different categories. I love ceramics. I design bisqueware for paint on pottery studios. It's like sounds like a weird thing, but it's actually an industry. It's very exciting. So I have a lot of those pieces and I paint them. I hold workshops here, and my whole goal is to spread positivity through creativity, and just to bring some color and fun and personality into people's homes and into their lives. And I always tell myself I'm not here to represent the whole Latino community. I'm here to represent my mark on the world as Kathy Cano Murillo, daughter of David and Norma Cano, to share my story through my creativity. So I am one slice of a big pie of because there's so many other creators and artists who are also sharing their own individual stories that are different from mine. We each have something different to offer, and the more that we each take the time to put our designs and our creativity out there, the more we will be seen as how we're all different. You can't lump everybody together into one thing to represent everybody. We each have something different to offer. So that's what I do with everything I make. Is it has like a little touch, because just in like in the design world, the goal is to have all these different products on a table, and for someone to be able to look at it and say, that's a Crafty Chica made that. Like, that is the best thing ever when someone can recognize something you made from everybody else's. That's the goal for every artist and designers, to have their work, their spirit just jump out and to represent them.
Yes. No, and you're doing it, because when we walked in here, I was telling Manny about it, and I was like, "Oh, this is her line." And I was like, "Wait." I was like, "Oh, yep, it is." So I think, you're doing great. I'm so proud of everything that you work on, everything that you're representing for us
Thank
Latinos. Like, it's
you.
honestly amazing. And like I told you, like, I can tell that you're so passionate about everything that you do. And that is like the key to success, the key to success.
Yes.
And I think you pour your heart into it, into every single piece. What out of here is like one of your favorite pieces?
Oh,
If we had to
wow.
pick a couple, let's pick a couple, because I think one is too hard to pick.
Well,
Yes.
I really love the illustrations because I always felt unworthy, that I wasn't good enough doing them, and I would always have my husband paint pictures for me that I would use in my crafts. He's a fine artist. And one day he said, "You need to learn to do this yourself." So I made all these illustrations, and luckily I did not throw them away. I kept them, and I knew they were wonky, but I still kept them and moved forward with them, and I used them on all kinds of things. But as I kept working on it every single day, and I got better and better and better. And I was able to take those older, wonky illustrations, put them into Procreate, and then do my new skills on to bring them to the skill level I'm at now. So I'm really proud. Like, every time I finish an illustration, it is a reminder to me that I did not give up, and that I pushed through, and I didn't hide it. I didn't think that, no, I can't put it out there, I'm embarrassed. I just went through and did it, but I just kept evolving, and it's so fun to see then versus
progress,
now, and
yeah.
how far that I've come.
Yeah.
So every time I see the illustrations, like, you could grab a greeting card, like, this one is like a get well soon, and it has like the little cup, and this is the
Cute.
little birthday blessings, and
Oh, for
the
a
little alabrije for
baby.
a baby. So,
You
designing
have a lot of different
16
designs.
greeting cards, and they all have, I learned so much about the greeting card industry, of, how to design a greeting card, and I never knew these things. Like,
Yes.
I just thought you just put whatever you want on the greeting card, but there's certain
A
little things
process,
that make
yeah.
them sell, that you have to put on a greeting card so that they will actually sell. And I didn't know that until I entered the greeting card industry and went to the greeting card trade show, and I had an appearance there, and I got to meet other greeting card designers and buyers. That's where I met the buyer from Barnes and Noble.
Yes.
And it's just a whole new world.
Yeah.
So, my advice to anyone out there who is a creative or an artist, like, look at these different industries, because there's so much opportunity out there. And I use LinkedIn a lot to share what I'm working on, because that's where a lot of movers and shakers are, and decision makers. And we love Instagram and we love YouTube, but a lot of my business opportunities have come through LinkedIn. So it's using my creativity, but also a business strategy as well, to reach the right people, to bring Crafty Chica to the masses.
Yes. And I love something that you said. As humans, like, we're evolving.
Yes.
We're always evolving. So this is your sign. If you're passionate and if you're doubting, like, yes, you may not know everything about what you're wanting to have in your life, in your career, whatever it may be, but work on it. Every day
Yes.
gets you closer to that goal. Every day you don't work on it, every day you don't do your
Right.
research,
It's
every
not
day you
going to
don't
fall
grow.
out of the sky.
It's not.
It's not. And
We all started not knowing anything.
Right.
You know?
Right.
We really
and that's
did.
the main thing, is to keep working on it, because even, one big life-changing opportunity it's not going to fall out of the sky. I feel like our lives and our career path is peaks and valleys.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone deserves their time to shine in the spotlight. So when you have your time, prepare for your time that's coming. And then when it dims down, prepare for the next time that it comes around. You cannot sustain being at that peak forever. It's just life. It goes in cycles. Everyone deserves to have their turn. So go easy on yourself. If things shift, if things change, use that time to learn a new skill or to put a new branch to your business and create something new so that it will come around again to have that high point again.
Oh, I feel like you're speaking to me right now, honestly. Because as a business owner, you do go like this.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
in the lows where you start to question yourself
It
sometimes.
is life.
But
That
yeah,
is life.
I love that.
We are not robots.
We're
You
not.
don't just push the button and then it goes at the same speed forever.
Yeah.
Like we're humans, we're complex. We're all here for a different reason with different
Yes.
lessons to learn. So just go with the flow of it and live in the present and prepare for the future and honor the past. All of it at the same
All
time.
at the same time, yes. What do you want people to know about Crafty Chica?
Well, I want people to know that this is where I feel like I could get choked up, that my whole mission with Crafty Chica is to show our culture in the craft industry, to represent our culture in the craft industry. Like I said at the beginning, $43 billion. My dream, if I could inspire other Latinas to join a membership at the Craft Association, it's called NAMTA, and go to the craft trade show. If you have a product idea, if you have a favorite product that you want to be a spokesperson for them, or you want them to sponsor something for you, invest in yourself, learn about the inside part of it, if it's the greeting card industry, if it's the wrapping paper industry, if it's the ceramics industry, strive to expand and represent, because there's a lot of opportunity there. And even this weekend I'm going to the ceramics convention, and we have very little representation there. So I could gripe about it from the outside and complain, or infiltrate and go in and
Yes.
represent and tell these independent paint on pottery studio owners, you have a community in your area. Seek out local Latino artists to come in and teach a class for Dia de los Muertos. Connect using artists. And so if I can do that and hook people up and connect that way, that is what makes me so happy. So that's what I would want people to know and remember, is that, I'm trying to get the ball rolling.
You're such a positive light. So
Aw,
thank you so
thank
much
you.
for being here. Where can people find you? So your Instagram, your YouTube,
Yes.
and where can they
You
shop
can
all your
go
products?
to craftychica.com, and I have like more than 1,000 craft tutorials there. And then all the socials, TikTok, YouTube. I have a Facebook business page, Instagram, Threads. Threads is more personal, but it's super fun. All at Crafty Chica.
Perfect. Well, you know where to find her. Shop all her beautiful products here at Amor Collective in Peoria. Thank you for, like I said, you're like a tia. I'm like, I
Aw,
love this.
thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank
everything,
you.
for
Thanks
all
for
your
having
advice, for
me.
everything that you are. And I am manifesting so much more success for you, because you just radiate, you deserve it. You radiate so much
Thank
light, so much
you.
positivity, and keep on representing us Latinos. Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Latinas Power Talk. I am your host, Kenia Vasquez. I'll see you here back next week on Wednesday. Bye.